What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Golden Dice Podcast, episode number 37. We're starting to get up there. With me this week, I have the man that trashes me every time we do testing and makes me rethink my entire life as a Destiny player. And that, of course, is Tommy. Tommy, how you doing tonight?
I am well, Jack. I don't know if I trash you every time we play test, but I had a good night the other night when we were playing, and I know that it was a good experience for us. And I also wanted to say that I got a new mic, so hopefully I don't sound like I'm recording from like underneath a dishwasher or anything like that this week. And it even came with this sweet note. I'm going to read it on the podcast. It says, "Hi, Tommy. This is to bring your podcast to the next level. Keep up the good work, from Tyler Flockington." So shouts out to you, Flockton. You're my boy. That was very sweet. I appreciate
Meanwhile,
it.
he sends Ray emails saying that Ray sucks.
Yeah, I know. Well, he doesn't have my email address. He just has my actual address. So
That's probably worse.
yeah, it might be.
But yeah, last night, but I mean, that's how we go, right? You beat me in all the testing, but when it comes to like tournaments is when I'm able to sneak one out for me.
Yeah, you'll bump
I
me.
still remember that. I would beat your deck that you took to top 8 at Gen Con consistently at tournaments, but then like
you trashed
lose every. Well, I was playing Qui-Gon Ray, and you like obviously if you get Vibra Knife down back when it was completely broken, it just destroyed what I was trying to do. And every game we played, it was like literally the bottom 2 cards.
Yeah, it was rough. Those were some rough experiences.
I was fine with it.
In the basement at good old All the King's Men.
Yeah, man. Rest in peace, all the King's Men.
Right? Pouring one out.
Closing down. Yeah, pour one out for pour some chocolate milk out.
ATK.
Tommy. The good stuff.
That's right.
Yeah, it is weird now that we have really one store that has Destiny now. I mean, it was kind of, I don't know. Both were kind of dying anyways, but maybe just having one store. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it'll bolster the turnouts for Mondays at Top Deck Games. I'm optimistic. I'm unfortunately not really able to make it, and in that window between work and parenthood and having a wife that needs help sometimes. So, but yeah, I just can't make that window there. So hopefully one day we can get a weekend event going, maybe with these new premium kits, and I'll be able to come out and play with you guys once in a while.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, we're going to start to change to open play, as I kind of mentioned. Last podcast it was, I guess, right? Yeah. With the change to OP, if we do open play during the week and then try to do like a few weekend tournaments, as you mentioned, with the premium kits, if we can get our hands on more than one.
Yeah.
Who knows what's happening? The store finally answered me about OP kits and told me they aren't sure if we're getting our Season 4 kits. So, yeah, that kind of stinks. We may not be getting the X-Wings, Witch Magic, and Power tokens. He says the rep doesn't even know, even though he did order them.
Oh, okay.
That's just a lot of fun with this turnover.
It's encouraging.
Yeah, but he said we're definitely signed up for the first one of like the new stuff. So
that's better anyway. I mean, Witch Magics, they're pretty sweet to have. But if that's the sacrifice to have, a better ran OP, I'm okay with it. Still sucks, but
yeah. I really would have actually liked, all the contents. Not crazy about the power action tokens, but it would have been nice to have them. Yeah, like you said, Witch Magic is whatever, but the X-Wing was pretty cool too.
I mean, more power action tokens isn't actually a bad thing. I mean, more and more cards are getting power action tokens. We're going to see more of that tonight. We're going to talk about some of that. But I know when we've been testing a little bit with Tarkin Snoke, you're pretty frequently using 4 power actions. So power action tokens are kind of a important thing to have.
Yeah, and I think it was Banana Craps who brought up an interesting point of whether or not they'll be in the starter with both characters having power actions, General Grievous and Obi-Wan. So
yeah, I would hope that they are. I mean, if they're printing acrylics, they should absolutely have cardboard ones so that new players, that buy the starter decks can start that good practice of, keeping a clean board state that's, apparent, and you're keeping track of things, and your opponent knows what's going on, and you don't have to like double guess yourself, or even casually if you get up and walk away from a game, when you come back, so it's just clean. It's neat. It should be something they include.
Yeah, agreed. So as you mentioned, we got a lot of spoilers, and even today we got like half spoilers from Team Covenant in their like preview article that they released type thing. Um, he wrote like a little article, but I think the spoilers are like coming later, like tomorrow or Monday on stream, something along those lines.
Oh, we got that one
Um,
image where we can see, the one full event, and you can see a little bit of some of the other cards in it.
yeah,
It's like one of the
yeah,
fan outs.
it's looking like it's blue hero. I mean, it doesn't have to be, but like Luminar is on one of the pictures, but it's definitely all blue. And he puts his deck list up so you can see that there's new cards in mastery and training, so like new type of cards in that deflecting
Mhm.
/ circle of shelter. Yeah, the one card that was spoiled, I think I can read it. I guess I'll read that real quick and then we can get into the the other ones I have. So um there was a circle of shelter. Resolve one of your character dice as if it were showing a shield. If that character has a card titled, I'm gonna spoil or mess this up, Sorasu Mastery on it,
I think
that
you got it
die
right the
is
second time. Sorasu.
probably Sorasu.
I believe
I'm
it
gonna say
is.
it wrong. I'm gonna say it wrong forever. So it's just roll with it. um, if that is on it, that die is resolved without removing it from your pool. So it seems interesting. It's more so I'm excited to see like the mastery type things, if having all that stuff kind of come into play.
Yeah, I mean
Uh,
that can really add a lot of flavor to the blue stuff. You can have. I think that's a whole new thing that you can expand on and make work, and just add another layer of like subtypes, but maybe not so much for characters, but for upgrades or supports or events or whatever.
I'm mostly excited to do this with Luke on his like focus or resource side to resolve it as a shield and then do a damage with it.
Yeah, yeah, I saw that
And
there was
it's
some discussion of that in the Discord, and we were called the finishing strike
yep,
shenanigans and my
finishing
single
strike,
tier.
Ataru strike. It's all of those rules apply to this card.
Hmm.
It's not showing. It says resolve one of your character dice. So that'll be really funny to see people. You'll make people get upset at PAX, dude. It's just
Yeah,
gonna happen. But I mean, that's just about it from that preview article that Team Covenant put out earlier today. So whenever their stream is, I think it's the 11th at 4 p.m. Central. So there you go, on
all
YouTube,
right.
Facebook, and Twitch, Monday, February 11th. So you can check their stuff out for that. But we can dive into their bigger spoilers. They had the Covenant Master Series this weekend, and a bunch of people traveled out. I know like Sugi from Knights of Ren was there. Um, Monk was there from Monk's Gaming Battlefield, and our boy Ian, who was on last week, was there as well. So it seemed like it was a good crowd. I don't know what their final numbers were, but it seemed like everybody was there, was having a good time. Jeremy's Worm was out there. He did a question and answer that's on Team Covenant's page as well, along with playing all these spoilers. So definitely, if you're looking to see some of this in action and hear the Q&A section, you can head over to their YouTube page to check that out. And it was good. I got to sit down and watch it last night. Some informative stuff. He finally
Yeah.
explained why they changed the numbering on stuff,
Yep.
which frustrates me, but had to do with how they developed stuff and the order of developing things. But I won't spoil anything. But we'll dive right in, and we'll deal with the big man himself. Tommy, you want to do this? Take this card.
Yeah, sure. So we got Big Papa Palpatine. Unlimited power is is his title, I guess. He's 10 health.
Yeah, it seems odd.
Yeah. 2 melee, 2 focus, 2 shield, 1 resource, and a blank. 14 for 1 die, 18 for elite. He's a character leader Sith. This character has +1 health for each ability on it, and those abilities do not count toward its upgrade limit. And then it goes on to say he has the power action: roll a die on an ability on this character into your pool. It's a pretty beefy, interesting character, and only beefy conditionally, but I think it's interesting. His dice are obviously good. His point cost is a little high, but only when you look at his health total as 10. But you're going to be throwing abilities down, hopefully cheap ones, to increase his life. And then it's kind of odd because I feel like the power action makes you want to play, a big like big ability on him so that you can get, a lot of use out of something like a force wave or maybe something else we'll talk about later in the cast. And but at the same time, that kind of, you don't want to invest too many resources in just one ability when you can have several, and make his life, so much greater. But I guess you could just look at it as like, I'll just overwrite, one of the lesser ones later in the game, with a big one. So I think he's a really interesting character. I don't like to really pigeonhole myself and start thinking about, oh, who's he pair with and what abilities are you going to put in the deck. And, I don't want to like build a deck now because we don't have the full picture. We don't even have anything close to the full picture yet. So I'm not even there. I should note that he's also a villain and legendary.
Yep. Yeah. Palp actually takes up all 3 legendary spots, or 3 legendary spots for blue villain as we get to the upgrades later. Or at least upgrades or stuff with cards with his image on it, whatever. Yeah, he's interesting to me. I'm excited to have him in the game, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see what other force abilities or abilities in general, I guess, because it doesn't say blue abilities, come into play that are worth playing on him and have an impact on the game. Like, obviously, people's minds go right to like force speed and force illusion, which are 0 and 1 cost respectively. Force illusion obviously being a little bit more weird because you're going to be discarding it, but there's probably not going to be like, I hope they get away from 0 drops going forward, whether that's force speed or holocron, anything like that. So I don't think we'll see too many 0 drops. And one card we'll get into that's spoiled later, Malice, is a 1-drop that seems like it's made for him, but even that, it's just like, I don't know. Yeah, I get like 1 more health out of him, but the die just seems so bad on Malice. So yeah, it's got to have enough like not over costed or not like 3 or 4 cost stuff that are the only impactful stuff, because if he doesn't have any impactful 1-drops, he'll be in a tough position kind of. But I'm excited to have him in the game.
Yeah, he looks fun. He looks interesting. And like I said, we're not really sure what else is going to come out that's going to impact him. I mean, we know some of the stuff that's going to come out, specifically one downgrade that we'll probably talk about later as well.
Yeah, and I do like that they're starting to get into like, these characters have this specific type of build type thing. Like before, when the game almost first came out, like Awakening, Spirit Rebellion, Empire at War, it was like you just kind of took the best characters and put the best upgrades on them, and like that was that. And of course that's still kind of the case, but it's like interesting that you can have like now a blue villain deck with Palpatine where you're getting all these force abilities on him and running all of that, but you could also run a blue villain deck and have Dooku with beat stick type stuff. So it's like different things, whereas before it kind of all felt a little bit more pigeonholed into kind of what you could run. So I'm excited to have him in. We'll move on to Sentinel Messenger. He is. What was that?
God bless you, Jack.
That wasn't me, dude.
I like his 2 shield side. I think that's pretty cool.
Oh God. Who invited this kid onto the show?
I think we've been hacked.
I was really hoping if we just didn't introduce him, he wouldn't say anything.
Yeah.
You were being so good.
I almost
sitting
just
there
left.
quietly.
Honestly, I was like, I could just go to bed, but I gotta talk about that 2 shield side real quick. Guys just skimmed right over it.
Man, dude, look at you, man. You put out 2 articles. You actually played Destiny last night.
Yeah, you played 2 games last night.
2 games.
He went 2-0 for the record.
2-0.
He stomped me and then he stomped Jack.
I'm proud of him, man.
Thanks, guys. All right, well,
and then,
have fun. I'll see you guys.
All right, be good.
Now he's on a podcast.
Enjoy your girls' night.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. You're recording in a closet right now, right?
Yeah, I'm in a closet. It's great.
He's been in the closet for a while.
Not like we're just waiting for him to come out.
One day. But yeah, that 2 shield side's pretty good. But yeah, don't let me interrupt you. Keep going. Keep going.
Any more thoughts on Palpatine, Shane, that you would want to?
Here's what I'll say. I was over Nismo Joe's house, who, not everyone knows him, but we have spoken about him a lot. And he said, "Yo, did you see that Palpatine spoiler?" And this is a guy who just quit Destiny to play Transformers full time because he wants to form Voltron or whatever with the 5 little toys. But he said this card may make him want to play this game again. So I'm on board. If we can get Joe back, I'm on board.
That's what. Yeah, I feel like if you get these big name characters with like a unique flavor in the game, like it bodes well for people wanting to play the game more.
Yeah, I mean, Vader did that. I think
Exactly.
Palpatine does it to a lesser extent, but I mean, like people that there are a lot of people that really like Blue Villain. It's a very popular type of character. You know, a lot of people like Maul as a character. A lot of people like Palpatine. A lot of people like Vader. It's a very common thing for people to like. So them reprinting these characters multiple times and, you know, powerful versions of these characters is really good for the game. I know that people hate on Blue and they say, you know, Blue's too good, so on and so forth. Blue being good is good for the game. I mean, you want to highlight force powers, you want to highlight Jedi and Sith. Like, these are things that draw people to Star Wars. A lot of people would argue that these are some of the things that set Star Wars apart from other universes.
Man, did you just like at Shane right there?
Yeah, dude, seriously, relax.
With the blue, people complain about Blue.
No, that is actually one of Shane's opinions that a lot of people share.
Yes, one of the very few.
There's a few ones, yeah.
But you know what, I do say, I think that this Palpatine, I don't know, it feels like it hits that sweet spot. Like the newest Vader hit that like just beat face sweet spot, and who knows what we're going to see coming out. But this Palpatine does seem to have that potential to be like, all right, this is fun to play. It's cool. It's big, and you know, the other Palpatines didn't really have that. I mean, yeah, the one did when you played solo, but it was competitive for a little bit and then pretty much died out real quick. The 20 cost Palpatine's nowhere to be found. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think he's good for the game. I'll say it. It really hurt to say it. It's like cheering for Tom Brady in the Super Bowl, but I guess he's good for the game.
So is Palpatine going to lose to a backup QB?
Yeah, and then he's going to kiss his son on the mouth.
Well, now
he does kiss a lot of people in the mouth.
Hey, man, it's a New England thing. Should ask the Hyperloops about that, I guess. All right, we'll move on to his partner.
I don't think I want to know about that person.
I don't think anybody does. We'll move on to his partner, so we talk less about kissing sons on mouths, whatever. Hey, man, it's your lifestyle. Sentinel Messenger is a new blue villain at 8 cost. He has 8 health. He has a 2 melee, 1 focus, 1 shield, 1 resource blank. He's a character droid. He's a rare, and his text says you cannot play blue abilities on this character. After you activate this character, look at the top card of your deck. You may play that card, paying its cost.
I think he's cool. It's the for anybody that doesn't know Sentinel Messenger by name, it appears in the comics, and I believe it appeared in the Battlefront game.
Yep.
So it's definitely cool. It's, you know, Palpatine's face on a droid. I like the fact that it's got the droid subtype, and you know, we know we're getting that General Grievous in the starter, which reduces the cost of droids. I don't think it's color specific, so I believe that this would be a 7-point droid and give you access to blue.
Yeah, for sure.
In a Grievous deck.
Yep.
That's interesting.
So I think that that's really cool because I didn't expect to get a blue droid. So I'm excited for the potential there. You have a little inconsistencies with your damage sides, but who cares?
Ooh, Elite General Grievous, this guy, and Afra.
Yeah, 1-die Afra. That's a thing. That's a character spread.
Bringing it back.
Yep.
That double focus on General Grievous gives me so much spice.
Yeah, I like that General Grievous.
I mean, I know he's got 9 health, but I mean, he's 9 points for single die. So I mean, I think he's fine where he is. But dude, I am excited for him. I'm excited for Grievous a lot.
You could take 9 health when you're a 9/12 character with a solid die and or solid ability. I think he hits both those things. I mean, we've seen Talzin. Talzin sees plenty of play. Talzin restricts the way your deck operates, but has a fantastic ability. So I mean, it's I can't see why General Grievous wouldn't see play when he has a good ability that, you know, allows you to create some different character pairings, and then on top of that, just has a really good die.
Yep. Cool. I'm excited about Grievous. I know we're talking about Sentinel Messenger. He seems fine. He seems like he, you know, could kind of help Palpatine a little bit. Obviously, they're trying to get them to work together a little bit. in terms of, maybe finding more force abilities within your deck, since you can look at the top card of your deck. So
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, if you're looking at the top card of your deck and you want to if you're really building around this ability, and while I think it's kind of a niche ability, it's kind of like you're going to want a lot of lower cost cards. You're going to want a lot of zeros, so you can just surprise. You don't have an out, you can activate this guy. Oh, there's a hidden motive. Boom, play it. Even one cost things. I think it's going to be something. But I mean, you know what? If you're playing him with Afra and you don't have a droid, you activate him first. Maybe you hit a 000.
yeah,
So
you're starting with 6 card hands. That's
I
valuable.
mean, that's you're upping your chances for the turn 1 droid, and we know how potent Afra is with a turn 1 droid.
I know my first deck, man. I'm doing it. Just kidding. I'll play with Obi first, probably. I love him too much.
Yeah, Obi's cool.
Cool. I mean, is there any other thoughts you guys have on this guy? I mean, he's not unique, so it's probably not too crazy. We go in depth with him.
Yeah, I like him. I don't remember in the Battlefront this thing even being able to lift its hands, but somehow it has a 2 melee side. But other than that,
he slams his face into you.
he just frames you, just headbutts you. That makes sense.
Yeah, it's just headbutts.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, he's
All
cool.
headbutts.
I like that he has 8 health. I think that's notable to
8
mention.
for 8.
Yeah, 8 for 8 is good. After seeing that draft kit, 8 for 8's nice. So
Yeah, I mean,
the draft kit is 10 for 8.
2 melee is good, and a focus is good. He's got a resource side. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with his die. I don't think he's like a world beater, but I think he's good.
He's good, yeah, for sure.
Agreed. All right, we will roll on to the next part of this, and that is going to be Palpatine's lightsaber. This is a 2-drop unique weapon upgrade, legendary, and its dice sides are 1 melee, 2 melee, plus 2 melee, 1 shield, 1 resource blank. It says after you play this upgrade, gain resources equal to the number of ability upgrades on attached character to a maximum of 2. While this upgrade is on Palpatine, your copies of it are non-unique. So this could be really good in terms of being able to play it for free. Technically, you still have to front the cost, but you could easily get $2 back for it. I think this is a solid die all around, especially if you can get it for cheaper than 2. And having 2 of them on Palpatine is obviously super nice. So I think this is real good.
I agree. I think it's good. I can't see in the image I'm looking at it. It looks like it's cut off. Was this a legendary?
Yeah, you can see the top of it. This, Palpatine, and Force Storm, which we'll get to in a second, are the legendaries, and they all got Palp's ugly face on it.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think you get good damage sides out of this. I mean, there's 2 2s printed on it. One's a modifier, but that's okay. I think you get some cash back when you discount double check it. Yeah.
Now you add built to last,
is
baby.
fine. I mean, it's kind of nice if you're like, if you wind up with a second one of these and it's like your only upgrade. That's just a nice little thing to have if you're doing a sticks deck, maybe.
For sure.
Yeah, I think you could throw it in, irregardless of Palpatine.
Yeah,
like maybe as a one of, I wouldn't probably do 2 just because of the uniqueness. But like, as you look at rotation, like we're going to be losing a lot of blue stick weapons, and this one is super relevant. I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, it's got to have sides that are slightly below the curve of a 2-cost upgrade because you have the chance to make the money back. But like, it's barely below the curve. I mean, the new curve. It's above some of the old 2-drop upgrades. But I'm just thinking like, Rex's blaster, Luke's lightning rod. Like they have all black sides, and Rex's rifle goes up to 3 2s. So it's like slightly below that. But if you're getting it for free or for 1, then its value goes through the roof. So. Definitely deserves to be legendary.
Rex has a modifier.
Oh, he does. Yeah. What am I thinking? The lightning rod's what? A 1/2/2, all black.
Yeah.
So Rex has
1/1/2, I think. Let me check actually.
Yeah, it might be that.
Oh no, it's 1/2/2.
1/2/2. So they're all black. So it's like it's right in that, and then Rex has the same modifier like you said, but then it adds the +1. So it's like I don't know. Like it's almost like if you are getting this for free, that's going to be pretty brutal. So.
Yeah, I don't think it's below the curve at all. I think it's like right on the money, just good.
Yeah,
which is scary because you could be getting 2 for free in the game. So.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not like it. So like the 2, you jam your deck with like 2-cost upgrades or 2-cost supports or whatever it may be, even 1-cost things, just so that you have stuff you can play guaranteed. Round 1,
for sure.
Unless you're a deck with a super economy. So it's not. I don't think you're going to find yourself in a position where you're always making, 2 money back. But if you even get 1 back because
Yeah.
you have like a 1 cost force jump out, and then you resolve a resource side, and now you've ramped into 2 dice turn 1. I think that's something though. Like that's when it's going to be at its best. I don't think you're going to find yourself in a situation where you're getting 2 resources back all that often.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, even for 1, I think you're.
Yeah, for 1.
You're
I mean, I
happy
think
with
it'll
it.
happen on turn 2.
Even for none, just a straight 2-drop.
Yeah.
Like I think it's. I think it's closer to the curve of what 2-drops are.
Yeah.
Like, even just thinking about other ones, like the treasured is like a +1, +2, 2, maybe a 3.
Right.
And then there's the what was the one in draft? Treasured? No, crafted.
Handcrafted. Yeah.
Yeah.
Handcrafted. Like that one's like way above the curve,
So
but its
bad.
restriction is so
brutal.
so rough.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. I think on turn 2 you'll actually be able to get this. I mean, if this is your first action, drop it, make your money back, so you can still remove if you have turn 1 and you're we haven't talked about Malice yet, but that's going to be in Dex, and then like you said, Force Jump, and I don't know. Like I feel like you actually might get its ability off at least for 1 consistently, maybe for 2. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see what the Palp decks actually look like.
Yeah. All right, we'll move on to. I mean, you just referenced it. We'll move on to Malice. It is a 1-drop villain blue rare in upgrade ability. It's got 1 disrupt, 1 discard, 1 discard, special blank. It's got redeploy. Special is deal 1 damage to any number of characters that have 1 or more of their character dice showing a blank. Currently, in my mind, looking at this, I don't even know if I'd include it in a Palp deck. But again, that's not like the whole set's not spoiled. I don't really like this.
I think you have to include it in a Palp deck. It just goes hand in hand with jump. So, and you're going to use jump. So
I feel like jump's got more like value out of it. Like, I don't know. I feel like I could play this and just never get value out of it. I think
Tommy's saying with
what
jump
I'm saying
special.
Is if you jump special, turn something to a blank, and then
That's
you
fair.
resolve this special. Now you're guaranteed to deal 1 damage, but you could opportunistically maybe, turn somebody that doesn't have a blank on one of their dice and the other does. Maybe you get 2 damage out of it. I don't think it's not amazing, but
yeah, it's not.
We're going back down to 4 sets. I don't know how many abilities you're going to have. And it's got 2 discard sides on it, which are amazing. And the problem is the special is extremely conditional. This is probably the upgrade that gets overwritten with Force Storm, more likely than not. But I think there's utility if you're running 2 jump and you're building a deck with Palpatine. I think it's fine.
Yeah, I think outside of Palpatine, it sees like no play. Because at Palpatine, it's 1 resource for health and another die that you get to use and manipulate and do something with, even if it's just a discard, because you're gaining a health on them and it's not taking up an upgrade slot. But I get what Jack's saying, because it's just reading it, you're just like, okay, pretty underwhelming. But
yeah, it's definitely underwhelming. It's not something you're thrilled to spend your resource on if it's not giving you a health.
Yeah, so outside of Palp, I don't think it's. I mean, why does it have redeploy? What does that even?
In case he dies.
Well, when his Malice transfers to his Padawan.
Is that how it works? Okay. Yeah, that Malice transfer.
Yeah, dude.
Transitive property.
Yeah, that's it.
Get good, dude. Do you even play this game?
Apparently not.
He plays enough to beat both of us now, right?
Apparently. All right, yeah. I mean, that covers that for Malice. Not too much to dig in. All right, who wants Force Storm, man? That's a big one.
Yeah, my eyes aren't that good, so I can't. I cannot read its text.
Okay, I'll take it. It's a 4-cost blue ability upgrade. Force Storm. Its die sides are 3 ranged, 4 indirect, 2 discard. Wait for it, Shane. 2 shields.
Give it to me.
And a special. Its text is it's blue character only, and then the special is place 1 resource on this upgrade, deal damage to a character equal to the number of resources on this upgrade, reroll this die instead of removing it. It doesn't go on to say from your pool, probably because they ran out of space on the card, but I feel like that should follow.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's. I don't think there's any other way to interpret that.
Yeah, there's no need for it. I'm so used to seeing that.
Yeah, both black ones say it. Force Lightning said it. Yeah, they probably just ran out of space. Dude, I love this.
And it is a legendary and villain.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. This is so good. This is like
in a post
Palp's fist.
holocron world, though. Like how
Still,
good?
all right. So I mean, if you look at it with Palpatine, like you play it, you get 2 resolves out of it, right? You can power action on Palpatine, roll a die on an ability on this character into your pool. So each round you can still get 2 resolutions out of it.
Agreed. It's definitely strong. Its die is reminiscent to like the fist, I would
was
say,
thinking that.
somewhere in that vein. And the fact that on Palpatine you get 2 resolutions out of it, I think that all those things are true. But it is a 4 cost, and you've got 18 points invested in Palpatine. So the difference is, can you make the cash?
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. Yes, you can overwrite, your malice or whatever, upgrade you decide, and that's fine. But
Yeah.
Palpatine doesn't have a 2 resource side like Vader, and Palpatine doesn't have a Snoke power action unless you're running him with Snoke and the -2 plot.
Yeah.
Well, you could single die Palp if you really wanted, but that
Single die
doesn't
Snoke would work,
3 die
yeah.
doesn't seem like a great deck. But I mean, Jeremy's deck was what? Single die Palp, single die Executioner, single die. Was it the Sentinel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much is the Executioner? Because didn't he run Bitter Rivalry with it too? Isn't the Executioner 8 or is that 9?
No, the Executioner's 8.
Maybe he wasn't running. Right? Because 8, 8, 16, 14.
Yep.
Maybe he just ran Bitter Rivalry because he's that badass.
He's like, this deck is so good, you guys need help.
Maybe he's so good.
Maybe he didn't, and I'm just remembering things wrong. And he got it down a few times during the stream.
Yeah, if this thing goes down, it's super scary. Super, super scary.
Especially like you got the double focus on him, and if there's ways where you consistently resolve that special, like turn 1, you could do 3 damage from that, just from the special, and then still like power action it back in, or like something along those lines. Like
you can continuously re-roll it in your pool indefinitely. My issue with the card, and it's just the comparison with Fist is Fist can hit the table round 1 and be amazing. If this hits I don't see how this hits the table on Palpatine round 1, and it's only like Fist level if it's on Palpatine, because that's the only way you're getting multiple.
Yep.
Unless you just continuously roll specials like a boss or focus into specials.
Yeah.
That's you're just lucky at that point. But I mean, if you're going to get the power action and you're going to resolve this twice or maybe 3 times, with the special and whatnot, then it's great. But Fist turn 1 is what people are doing. That's what makes Fist so amazing,
And well, I mean, so I do get that, and I am echoing those thoughts as well. But also, like, if Theed doesn't get hit, you really only have to find 1 more resource.
I think we can all agree that Theed will be hit.
You assume it will be, yeah. But if you run him with 2 other characters, that's 2 other dice you could potentially get a resource off of. I don't know. Like it isn't a turn 1 play. I agree, but then I feel like within the same vein, I feel like Fist is much less likely of a turn 1 play if Theed gets hit, especially with Vader. And then also with Theed getting hit, it's less likely that those decks are going to be able to afford the pay sides. And then if a Fist turn 1 and they can't afford 2 of its damage sides, them doing Disrupt and Shields and 3 damage is not as scary.
Yeah, so you don't have the pay sides on this, which is
that's what I was going to say. I was going to say, just comparing this to Lightning, it's just like every single side is resolvable. So when you compare those side by side, this is way better. And then I don't think it's going to be a turn 1 play prior to Palp's activation. I think that's going to be a really hard sell. But with Palp's activation, it might be a turn 1 play, slightly more consistently, but it's most likely a turn 2 play. But if you do get it post Palp activation, you can still get one resolve in with his power action. So it's not the worst possible thing.
Yeah.
If you have to use some of Palp's focus or use even a resource side, whatever, to actually get those resources to play this after. Yeah, it sucks you missing a roll in. It's not comparable to the Fist at that point because you're rolling this thing in once instead of 3 times. And if Palp dies, this goes away. Fist stays there. But still, I mean, it's really like what Tom said. It's just that this in a post-holocron world is definitely a harder sell, but I still think this thing's worthy of a inclusion because it's pretty jacked.
Yeah.
It's definitely good. There's no doubt it's good. I just don't think it's as good as we may think initially. The other issue with it is that its special side sees the most value, the sooner it hits the table, because you're able to stack up more resources. Like, if you play this, round 3, which seems like a pretty reasonable, I don't think that's out of the question that you would play this. You might not be able to play this until round 3, maybe late round 2. The special's only dealing 1 damage the first time you resolve it in round 3. That's a terrible value.
You're getting
for 4-cost
you're
upgrade.
re-rolling it. Yeah,
But you still keep it.
I think
like the 1 damage definitely sucks, but the fact you can keep it in, like you could do the 1 damage and then do the 3,
I think the special
and you
is
just did
gravy.
4 with that and power action.
The fact that
I
just think the fact that everything's resolvable makes that special fine, even if it's only doing 1, 2. Like, it's not ramping as hard as it is, because when you reroll back in, you're resolving something else. The only side that could be dead is the discard side if they don't have a hand. Everything else is a fantastic side. So even if the special is not doing much, you're fine.
I don't know. I'm hype on this, man. I like this
I don't
a
like
lot.
to get hyped on 4-cost upgrades like a lot, because I know they don't see as much play, but like I think it's a deserving of its 4 cost. I think it'll actually see some solid play.
Yeah, but time will tell.
That is true.
Any other thoughts on this as we
I just want to clarify that I think it's good.
No,
Tommy sucks.
You heard it here. Tommy thinks it sucks,
not
guys.
pissed. It's
Tommy's
not pissed.
Tommy's going to trade me his 4 storms for my Grievous Wheelbike and Rebellion leaders.
Yo, Grievous Wheelbike is disgusting, and it's going to take over the meta once rotation. Call him that.
Yeah, the art is really good.
You say so.
The art's solid.
Yep, agreed. I haven't seen art that I don't like yet. Malice is kind of whatever, but everything,
Yep.
I think everything's been super good. All right, next up we got an event, Blue Villain. I think I can read this all. 0 cost. It's called Forsaken. It's an uncommon. It says play only if the player has exactly 1 die in their pool. Remove a die showing a value of 2 or less. It's 0, but it's very situational. Yeah. It's dead against elite characters.
It's not dead against elite characters, and it's because it says play only if a player. So it's not contingent on your
a player. Yep.
Dice. You have control over your own dice. So in like a 3-wide build, you could roll in one of your characters before you say play upgrades or anything, just to get this online. And then, as your opponent carries out their turn, you can kind of mill around and keep this online because you only have 1 die in your pool.
Ooh, I like it better. Glad I said my idiot statement so we could clarify that.
Tommy's redeeming himself after his previous opinion.
Yeah.
No, that's true. It's you got to like slow play it for the round. Like, I get what you're saying. You either activate a support or a character, and then you sit on this. They activate. You get a free removal. That's not bad.
Yeah, I mean the trader's big now. It probably goes with him.
Yeah, free removal.
You activate trader, force them to activate, and then boom, Forsaken.
That's true. Yeah, I mean that's interesting. I like anything that costs 0 and removes a die, so I can't say I hate it.
Yeah, and we're starting. Of course, the big thing that everybody's talked about is like the change of removal, and losing all these like remove a die cards, very conditional. And while this is still, it's a 0 cost removal, so it'll be interesting to see. And this next one is also a 0 cost removal. Shane, can you read this one?
What a segue. Yeah, I can try. It's got like 17 K2SOs on it. It says a sinister piece.
Okay, he definitely can't see because there's ATS, AT-ATs.
It's 2 K2SOs in it.
I slightly exaggerated.
AT-AT.
It's called a sinister piece. It is a villain red card that costs 0. If I squint really hard, it says discard a card from your hand to remove a die showing a value of 2 or more. Interesting. So you gotta burn 2 cards in order to get a removal out of this. And I just want to say, this is banana crapshoot putting these images in here that we can't enlarge somehow. I feel like Mr. Chip trying to read something.
No, I put him in there. He put the Palp on.
You
the lightsaber.
Oh, I didn't see your name. Yeah, so
yell at me, dude.
Jack, you suck.
At me, bro. 0 cost. I mean, it's 2 cards for a die that's obviously impactful. I kind of like it. It 2 cards is a tough pill to swallow, depending on the situations, of course. But
and it can't hit specials either. Like, it's weird.
Yeah.
Like, it's super situational. You have to hit 2 cards. Not super situational, but it's a steep price, and then you can't hit specials. I mean, 2 or more is fine. You want to remove 3s and 4s and stuff. But it's just like 2 cards and I can't even remove a special if I wanted to. It just feels like slightly weird, but I'm sure it'll see, some play here and there.
So I like both these pieces of removal because I foresee situations where they're great, and then I also see situations where they're not so great. But the important thing about both of them is that you are in control of both of these cards and dictating how often you're going to be able to play them. So Sinister Piece, it's if you're late around and you were probably going to discard your card anyway to maybe draw, dig for something else. Sinister Piece is great. If you just, I don't need this card anyway. I'll remove a die. The 2 or more is a little limiting because, like you said, specials is a thing, but there are plenty of big dice out
Yep.
there, like the fist that we just mentioned. And then the other one, obviously, we said, putting a die in the pool and it's either player gives you plenty of opportunity to do that, and that's a 2 or less. So I think these are 2 really awesome 0 cost removal cards that are going to be definitely staples in Trilogy, but we'll see standard play as well, I think, just because 0 cost is just at such a premium. And I really think that the overall economy of the game is going to suffer. Like we're seeing so many decks right now that just want to play, 2 and 3 cost events and all these giant supports or all these giant upgrades, and whether you're getting things out with Friends and High, or you're getting things out with Rise Again, or you're just Snoke power actioning or Chance Cube or whatever. A lot of things are going to change. Obviously, Snoke isn't going anywhere and Yoda's not going anywhere, but I think that we're going to see a lot of the events specifically take a step back in cost and come back to like 1s and 0s for the large majority of your deck.
Yeah, I mean, Awakening's block had all the 0s as well, so it's like they kind of had to replace them. But dude, they're slotting right into my Afra Grievous Sentinel deck, dude. Right, these 2 cards right here, baby.
Hey, there you go.
0 cost
There
removal.
it is.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's better with Afra because presumably,
oh yeah, you're drawing cards
in your hand.
Yeah, and the single die, if you're just rolling out droids, it could work, dude.
Yeah.
Roll out a droid, Forsaken, boom. Sinister Place, I drew into this card I don't need, boom. Or piece, sorry, not place. Cool. I mean, so that's all the spoilers from the Team Covenant stream. Yeah. Is there any other thoughts you guys have on these? And we'll move into the draft set.
No, I think that was a really cool event, and I wish that I could have made it, but that's life. But it's so cool. I totally would have went if it was 4 years ago or even 2 years ago. I probably would have made it over there just because Zach's a great guy, and it just seemed like such a neat event to be at.
Yeah, if I wasn't saving for a wedding, I probably would have tried to swing it. But it is what it is. Hope he does it again. Yeah. So we'll move on to the draft kit.
Let's go.
All right, we'll kick this off. I'll kick it off, and I'll read Count Dooku. He's a unique blue villain. He's a number 1 in the starter. So you get him once you buy the starter. He's gray, of course, whatever that means. And he is a 11-13 for his cost, 9 health, 2 melee, 1 focus, 1 discard, 1 resource. Blank. He's a character, leader Sith. He's a corrupted politician. And his power action says, play a blue card from your hand, paying its cost, then force an opponent to discard a card from their hand. I love everything about him, but I wish he had another health, and then I'd probably love him.
Yep.
I also like that his power action is any blue card.
I think he's good. I mean, I know I understand wanting him to have another health, but I mean, if you compare him to comparable 13-point characters, I think he's right in that wheelhouse as far as power goes. I mean, we're looking at Wolf, Yularen, no damage sides. You're looking at you're looking at Price, who has 1-2 melee, and then her specials could maybe add a damage. Granted, she's got focus sides on them, but they don't have that sweet power action, and she's got 1 more life. I think he's right in the conversation for like good 13-point characters. I mean, Snoke was 13, but Snoke is still feels busted at 14 even. So when I'm looking at a 13-point character, I almost just throw Snoke and Yoda out the window. even Ayla for that matter.
I
As
mean,
a hero.
Price is 13. She's got 10.
Yeah, but she lacks the damage size and she doesn't have a power action.
That's fair.
So I think he's right there. I think Price is better personally, but if you need access to blue, uh, I mean I think he's fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with him. I think he might see some standard play. I don't think he's going to see a ton of standard play. I don't think he breaks the meta, but I wouldn't be surprised if a character pairing came up that he was pretty good in.
Yeah, people are jumping to Kylo. I think the article even says that.
Yeah, the article links Kylo's picture. Yeah, I wrote an article about these next two things that we're gonna the draft set spoiler and the other spoilers. But I mean, I formulated more opinions after listening to everybody else's and talking about it more with you guys and everything. I think he's good. I mentioned a lot about the health in the article for both Fen and that, and the Outer Rim Outlaw as well. The health is the only thing that bothers me. And what is this like? How do you value a die at 2 points when it's a die with a focus and two black sides?
Not
I just don't get.
and you have a resource which you always want a
Yeah,
resource on your character dice
yeah,
if possible. I mean there are some outliers, and the other like one off side isn't like a modifier or a
no,
shield,
yeah,
it's a discard. And I think that discard is like if you're not a damage side or a focus side or a resource side, you want a discard side. You don't want the
I
shield or the disrupt. I mean disrupt can be
yeah,
useful in certain situations, but I think discard is the side.
I think it's
yeah,
just like draft set normal like point building, however they do their math. Like I think it's just the normalness is thrown out the window a little bit for
yeah. It feels like it,
draft.
right? Because like he should just be 10-13. That's fine. Or like, he can't be 14 and still have 9 health, but like 10-13 is fine. But they really just don't want him to be 10 points because of the draft. Like I don't know. I feel like I felt like the same thing for both Fen and him. But I mean, I love these
Yeah.
cheap level characters. Like I think, regardless of how good he actually turns out to be, he's going to see play just because he can fit in so many decks. And I love characters like that aren't pigeonholed.
Yeah,
So
the only time he's not played at 13 is when you're drafting.
yes, exactly. Yeah, for $2 2 points, you're going to take it. And his power action is just gravy. It's great. I mean,
Power
you're
action
probably going to
balls.
play a blue card,
Yeah.
so you get a free discard every turn. Why not?
Yeah, make them start with 4.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. Especially, I mean, it's random, so you could. Oh no, they get it right. Force an opponent to discard a card. Yeah, they get to choose.
So they picked their worst one, but still that's one less reroll that they could
Yeah, for
potentially
sure.
have.
It's
Yeah.
one less piece of
But
mitigation. It's one less reroll, like you said. It's one less upgrade. It's one less of a lot of
yep.
things.
And something to note is he's the first villain or hero character in any draft set. Him and Fen are both.
Yeah.
He's villain, Fen's respectively hero. So it doesn't change anything for the draft. Your team building doesn't matter. But it's interesting to note that they actually added that so they can just slot a villain character into a draft set now and then introduce it to the meta.
I think that's good.
So this is really random, but this is kind of where my head is sometimes. It makes me wonder about the original Rivals kit. If I know we just had in that interview from Covenant Masters where Jeremy said that with the production they used to develop all the dice first and then the rest of the set would be created after that because of the printing process taking so much longer for the dice. I wonder if when they designed the Rivals kit and they made all the characters neutral that they were actually going to, or they were planning on continuing to have the hero villain restriction in draft, and then after further testing they decided to throw that away and just say you can use whatever you want.
Yeah, I don't know. So I do know that the draft kit, they were producing it normally, right? Like how they do now, because the numbering of the cards is not the way it's the new way, right?
Yeah,
in draft.
it's the new way.
So yeah, because you have those gray cards, the gray dice like at the back, and you have the yellow after that and stuff. So I don't know, but I mean it's interesting.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's just something that popped in my head.
Yeah, I guess Shane's point kind of makes me think they maybe were ahead of the curve because of how their numbering did end up working out for the draft set. But I think it just lets them balance it a little bit better for like standard as well. Like you don't have to worry about making a character who's just okay for villains, but now is super good for heroes or vice versa or
Yeah,
something
for
like that.
sure.
Like Dooku, boom, he's villain, balance him with all the villains. We don't have to worry about it. Draft doesn't matter in terms of hero or villain, so let's just do it. So yeah, we'll move on to Fen Rao. Either of you guys want to take him?
Red Hero, dibs. Fenrir, Mandalorian Protector, 9 health. He's blue, he's dope looking. He's got a 2 range, a focus, a shield, a resource. So same exact die except range sides and a shield over the discard. He is a pilot and a trooper. Power action, play a red card from your hand, paying its cost, then deal 1 indirect damage to an opponent. So pretty like symmetrical in every single way to Dooku.
Yeah.
But I mean, free extra damage is nothing to laugh at all. So it's, I don't know. I feel like they're both pretty solid, both playable.
Probably puts him on par with damage output for like Cassian, right? Simply because he has a 2/2. 1 less health, but I mean, you know, Cassian's obviously regarded as a good character, and I feel like he can match that a little bit.
For sure, yeah. And again, 11-13, you can slot
Garbage
him in
color,
so many
though.
places. But yeah, I mean, red sucks. And if you're playing him, you're not going to have any red cards in your deck because every red card sucks.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
You're never going to get a power action.
I like both of them. I think they're both good.
Yeah.
For draft set, like awesome. Even for standard and trilogy,
They'll see.
really
They'll see
exciting,
some
too.
play. I think they'll see some.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
I'll take the. Or no, I did Dooku. Tommy, you take the worst one of the set.
Oh,
Sorry,
thank
Got him.
So this is the yellow character. It's the Outer Rim Outlaw, 8 health. Die sides are 2 ranged, 2 melee for $1, 2 indirect, 1 disrupt, 1 resource, and a blank. 10 points, neutral. Character, Scavenger, Scoundrel. Power action, play a yellow card from your hand, paying its cost, then reroll an opponent's die or reroll up to 3 of your dice. So we know a lot of people have already mentioned, you know, if that yellow die has ambush, or excuse me, if that yellow card has ambush, rerolling 3 of your dice and then, you know, resolving or pairing modified sides or whatever is good. The die is strong. You know, you got a lot of 2 damage sides. The 10-point cost attached to a character with 8 health just makes you sad at the end of the day.
Yep.
Yeah. Especially with how they're like giving points out to characters. Like you could just run a 10-point like other character who is probably just as good and has equal health.
Yep. This is a character
sure.
that's designed strictly for draft. They've intentionally kept the health totals low, you know, so you don't have to play 10 rounds because it's almost all 3 wides. You know what I mean? Like it's 9-8-8 or something like that for your health total in every single game. So I think that it's just a draft move. That's what it's for.
Yep. Yeah, if you actually go 8 with 8, then you could run all 3 draft characters. For what you call it. Yeah, because 11, 11, 22, and then if her health total is equal to them for single die, it would, you know, that would be a boring draft kit if you could just open it up and run the 3 characters together.
Well, technically, you can.
No, because that plot you have to have 2 of the same color character.
Okay, that's right.
Yes, you can't for that.
Yeah, dude, go trade me your force, whatever's. All right, man.
Jeez, how do I lose to Shane? Oh, because Shane knows every card. God,
Ever.
Tommy, you're
Dude, he
terrible.
wrote an
Except
article
Rex's
about
blaster.
No,
but really, dude, look at this thing's die sides. Why does it have 3 black 2s? It's absurd. But it just has 8 health.
Yeah, on top of the bad point cost, I hate that 2 for 1. Like
but in draft 2 for 1's not that bad.
Yeah,
sometimes you don't even have anything to spend resources on.
Yeah, because in that late game, you know, round 5, you're like, I just need to kill something.
Yeah.
Yeah, looking at it as a draft kit, like all these characters look super fun. So does this little boy.
That's
right
the
here.
one I
He's
wanted.
dope.
This is my favorite.
Yep. Dude, Tommy, take him, man.
Aw, what a sweetheart.
You got the worst, now you get the best.
Dude, this is my favorite 6-point character that they've released, and I love it. I mean, I love the Gungan too, but this is the Claudite Shapeshifter, 6 health. It's a gray neutral character. Die sides are 1 indirect, 2 indirect, 1 disrupt, 1 resource, blank blank. Character Shapeshifter. Shapeshifter as a subtype is so cool. I don't know. I might just choose that again after activating this character. But the text is, after you activate this character, you may choose a character subtype until the end of this round. This character gains the chosen subtype. I just think it's so cool. It's such good design for this not rivals, but this draft kit, because instantly, you're on. If you draw, or if you pull whatever subtype you want, a Jedi, say, because there's no Jedis in the actual draft kit, you can instantly make a Jedi subtype deck because of this character. Like you can build around that freely. You'll have two on hand automatically. This character can be whatever it wants. It's cheap. It can fit in any deck. It's not ideal in a lot of decks because you're not going to be hitting uh, your 30 point spot unless you pull the right characters all the time, but it's going to fit in, and it's going to allow you to play cards that you otherwise would have missed out on a lot of like cute abilities with.
Yeah, and worst case scenario, if you're like 25th through 30th cards or cards that stuff you can't even match because you had to fill your deck out with something. I don't know. You could potentially still use those cards. Like if it says Spotted Jedi or Title Jedi, whatever it might be, you could technically copy your opponents as well, even if you don't have a Jedi.
Totally,
because sometimes draft you could just have
five
garbage cards
Claudites
at the end. There you go. I
Totally
will do
doing it.
shapeshifter. I will have double shapeshifters all around.
But when you kill Boba Fett, you got to stand up and scream something. You can't scream Mutini. What do you scream?
I don't know. You just like mumble like you're getting a swirly.
I love it.
Perfect. All right.
Yeah, just comparing this thing to the Jawa though, real quick. Just I'll take indirect damage sides over direct damage sides if they're free any day. So I just think this is a cool.
I still like the Gungan better, but this is probably the second.
Yeah, the Gungan's better. I mean, you gain access to red. His damage sides are awesome, but
I take the shield over the disrupt and the direct damage.
This is just cool. I just like that. We've got that Zam Weasel race in the game. I just like I like when they pull things out like that.
Yeah, agreed.
And the design.
All four
is
characters
good.
are pretty fun.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for the draft kit. But we got two more little weird cards.
So this one is an event. It's a gray neutral 1 cost. It's called Chance Encounter. It says choose and do 1. Spot a leader to turn a die to any side. Spot a scoundrel to reroll up to 3 dice. Spot a trooper to remove a die showing a value of 1 or less. All of them seem, okay.
It's a good draft card.
Yeah.
It's just a good draft card. You got options. You got versatility.
Yep.
That's all there is to it.
Yep. And here's the big doozy. Allies of Necessity, a -2 neutral gray plot. Include only if 2 or more characters on your team share a color. After setup, discard a card from your hand and lose 2 resources. Thank God Thrawn Unkar is rotating. Because I think they like if a mind goes anywhere to a deck that just doesn't care and could probably still make do with the loss of 2 resources, it would be that deck.
Again, 2 characters of the same color.
Oh, it doesn't even matter, dude. Dude, I'm Tommy. Oh my gosh. Dude, see, Shane, you need to come around more.
Yeah, I mean, I probably shouldn't.
Jack, what are you saying, dude?
Doing great.
Yeah, I'm just joking. Tommy never leaves me.
Forget to introduce me again.
So I do have an opinion on this. I again think that this is a really great design for draft. I know that people are freaking out because -2, that is a scary thing to see on a plot. But I think what this is going to do is I know I haven't played a ton of draft, but I know when I go into a draft, I think about characters. I think about point costs. You don't usually want to play with just the draft kit characters unless you were playing with rivals and you pull no allegiance, because that's amazing. But what this does is it stretches that point cost of characters that is acceptable for you to draft. So you can actually draft a character that costs a little more without having that feel bad experience, where before you were really just targeting really cheap characters like Ayla or Price. Like these were the characters that you really wanted to draft because it opened up, good pairings for your team. Now this is going to allow you to, if you draft poorly, this gives you options still, because you can draft a big, like a big, as they call them, character, like an expensive character, maybe a character like Palpatine or whoever that's typically wouldn't be great in draft. Now you can create, an interesting deck with multiple colors and this plot.
Yeah, I just couldn't see past when I wrote that article. I was just very scared. For draft, you're totally right. It does open up the deck building, because I know I didn't really go into this too much in that article, but we talked about how prior to No Allegiance, so prior to that -1 plot, we were talking about that you can't really draft a 15-point character because then you can't go 3 wide, right? Because you can't do your 15 and then you have your 10 from Lobot or whatever, and then you can't add that 6 from the Jawboss. So like you couldn't draft a 15-point character, so you were at 14, had to stop there.
Yeah, 14 was the
You're right.
highest point cost character you could draft. Now they've given us the 6 back. We have a 10 and 2 11s now, but you still have that 10 that you have access to. But now you can expand that out. So you could play a 10, a 6, and then typically you would be a 14, but now you can expand that to a 16-point character at 1 die.
Right.
And that you could still draft that character and see value in a draft.
Yeah, and then it's like in draft, losing your $2 actually doesn't hurt. It hurts. It sucks, right? But you can't even guarantee you're going to get an upgrade on turn 1. So it's not the worst thing if you're getting a huge boost on what characters you're actually playing. So you're right. For draft, I think it's great. I do worry that someone who's way smarter than me is going to just break this card and ruin the game. But other than that, I think it's a good card.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of room to explore. I think going into draft, I would try to shy away from this, though. Like, I get what you're saying. Draft, it's a little less impactful, but still losing 2 resources in a card. Even though I get to pick the card. I don't know. I'd rather try to pick a 14-point character and do the 14, 10, 6 than try to expand beyond that.
Yeah, but what I think it does is it allows you to, if you're unfortunate in your pulls, it gives you the leeway to still make a somewhat viable deck that's, you can make use of characters that you otherwise probably couldn't have.
Yeah, I'm just not going to, my first 3 packs, see a 15, 16 and take them. Like, I'm probably still going to take whatever, well, of course, depending on the situation, but
yeah,
right.
I'm just not going to look to try and actively get this into my draft decks. Or standard.
I do like that it's in the kit instead of that No Allegiance, because you had the pulling No Allegiance in draft was like gold. You're like, oh yes, this card's amazing in this. But this, everyone has access to it, so it does just open up that. Cool. I don't know. Overall, I'm pretty excited for this draft kit from these 6 cards that we saw.
Yeah, it's also just it's fresh. The other draft kit.
Yeah.
We've had it for over 3 sets. I mean, I know we drafted Awakenings and Empire at War with it. And it was all fun and it was great. And I would still draft again with it today and enjoy it.
You might
but
have
I think
to. It says coming quarter or second quarter of 2019. So,
and that's fine. I mean, I don't mind drafting with rivals, but it's still, it's fresh and exciting.
If I lose to Jack playing Ketsu one more time, I'm just gonna end it. Can't do it.
I would be extremely disappointed if this isn't in for the new set.
Agreed.
Like, part of me wants to draft, but it's just, like, I don't know.
This is such a good launch night thing. Like, drafting on launch night's great. It's just having a new draft set, it would sell like crazy. Like, everyone would want to do it. So
at least we do have one. Like, last time it was like Legacies came out, and it was just like, all right, draft 2 weeks later or something like that. Or I don't remember the exact order of it, but
I thought we had the draft kits first.
Well, we had the short supply of them or whatever.
Yeah, they like the pre-release draft kit. But I mean, with a decent community, you can spread that around.
Yeah.
I remember they limited a couple drafts to like 6 people or something. Like, I remember the first week or 2. I do remember what you're talking about.
Yep.
But still.
I don't know. Maybe I might be less likely. I mean, I probably still will draft, but would only do 1, whereas normally I would try to do like 2. Maybe even 3 if I could find people to do it for the first set. This time, maybe 1. So,
I'm raising my hand, Jack. Take me.
Oh God.
All right, let's do it. All right, we'll move on. We'll wrap up the draft kit. We'll move on to this last article, Death Marks, and there is a lot of bounties and bounty hunters, and it is some exciting stuff. So I'll just get us with the ball rolling since I already have it up. We got Dengar, who's a ruthless tracker. He's a 11-14 for elite, 10 health, character, bounty hunter. He is a rare, yellow villain, and he's got a 1 range, 2 range, 1 melee, 1 disrupt, 1 resource blank. After you activate this character, you may deal 1 damage to a character that has a bounty on it. I kind of like him. The dice side's obviously like throwback to Finn 1, but obviously, of course, it's different because of his ability, and we know how powerful the Pinging 1 can be.
And he's 2 points less.
Yep, and 2 points less. So it's
For
obviously
sure,
not as bad. I'm not trying to say he's on Fin 1's level.
You heard it here first, guys. He is Fin 1.
Yeah, Dengar is Fin 1, and whatever that other card was is trash. Force Storm is trash. That's what you learn here at Golden Dice Podcast.
Putting words in my mouth.
I like him, though. It basically, he'll depend. Like, I feel like he'll be like almost Afra-esque in terms of bounties. Same thing with Jabba. Like, he'll get better as more bounties come out. Like, if these first few bounties are not great, not really worth playing, then maybe Dengar isn't really worth playing as well.
Yeah, I think the problem with bounties as downgrades, I think that we're going to see is that the bounty, and it's somewhat of a thematic issue. Like a bounty, when you defeat that character, you collect that bounty, which is very thematic. But if you don't gain something from playing that card, it's really hard to justify putting it in your deck. Now, Dengar gives you a reason to play the card because you're going to get a damage on every activation, but it'd be a lot better if you played a downgrade that, if his ability just triggered on downgrades, and you could play something that would, maybe affect your opponent negatively in some way, and then still get your ping damage on top of that. Then I could see this working a lot better than it does currently with what we know about bounties.
Yeah. No, I agree. And when I was writing that article, I was going through all these, and it wasn't until I got to the exciting reward one that I actually was like, and we'll get to that in a second, that I was like, okay, I can see what they're kind of going for. Because you're right. It's previously we had saw the, if you kill this character or when it's defeated, you get to draw 3 cards, and it's like, who cares almost? You know what I mean? You're like, you're going to draw a full hand next turn anyway. You're probably killing him mid-end round. So do you even need 3 more cards? Like, doesn't do much. But if they introduce more things like exciting reward, then yeah, they can find a deck slot. But like Tommy said, if you're putting a card that really doesn't give you a ton of reward and doesn't accelerate your win state other than maybe getting in a couple extra damage from Dengar, like it's not going to find its way into a 30 card deck. It's just not going to happen.
Off the bat, I kind of like him in Java. Seems interesting.
It does.
But
I mean,
it's about all
Java's like digging effect is definitely something that could work here.
You could pretty much guarantee you would see 9 cards plus, not calculating the mulligan, because Java's draw 4, so you're definitely getting a bounty down if you have them in your deck. So it just seems interesting.
But is that a good deck?
That's what I mean. I have no idea.
Problem. Yep.
It's just you're playing Java and Dengar.
I
just think as you go, it gets more interesting. So like, there's definitely, they have room, and it's like we're judging it without knowing the set. Obviously, more's going to come, but like, is more really going to come? Like, how many bounties can you actually fit in? It's tough,
Probably not. That's what I mean. Like after, it's like, oh, she's really good with droids. All these droids are going to come, and then it was just her and BT, and it's like, well, that doesn't really make a good deck.
All right. Yeah.
Once 000 hit the floor and Hailfire came out, it's like, all right, we're talking now. And so I think this will be the same thing. I'll read the one you referenced was Deathmark. Shane, the 0 cost. Downgrade bounty. After attached characters defeated, you may draw 3 cards. And I probably echo that same sentiment as you on that.
At least it's free. Like, I get, some of them are going to cost something. Like, at least that costs 0. But, like, it's, again, like, you're just playing it so you can really get the Dengar damage,
Yeah.
The draw doesn't seem good enough.
The second part excites me, though. That comes with Dengar. The punishing one, if you want.
Yeah, this is a little better.
Tommy, take it.
Sure. It's a 2-cost yellow support, unique punishing one, support vehicle, villain. The die sides are 1 range, 2 indirect, 1 disrupt, 1 resource, and a blank. It has the text, after an opponent's character that has a bounty on it is defeated, you may ready this support. If you spot Dengar, you may activate this support, and it's rare. So, a little vehicle reset, you put, I don't know, a mod or 2 on this thing, and you've got a bigger damage swing. Could you make the argument that it's a win more card? Yes, because you have to kill a character first. But if your character dice and your support dice or your upgrade dice are focusing on ranged or melee or just basically directed damage, you have a much greater chance of picking a character off. Also, if it's a 3-wide meta, it's going to thrive a little more. It's like Bala Light in a support, basically. You have your little Bala with a little contingency on having a bounty card on something.
Yeah.
And it's super good. I mean, like the die sides with the 1 range, 2 range, 200, like I think that's super valuable.
Yeah,
And
I think
even
it
if
has
you're
a
just
good
resetting
die.
that, you're fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, just for a 2-cost support, I think it's got a fine die. I think it could see play just on that, and then you
Yep.
have that nice caveat of potentially getting to ready it, which is wonderful.
And you don't even have to like it's not like something where it's like, oh, I'm not going to run this without Dengar. Like the losing the activation is probably fine.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you're
So,
fine. It might even give you a window where you made a couple resources throughout the turn, and you want to put another mod on it after it readies.
yeah.
That's why
My,
I like
I,
the fact that it's actually if you spot Dengar, you may activate this
yeah.
support, so you don't have to immediately.
Yeah.
Mod concerns me a little bit just because it's a 2-drop. But like,
Sure, Vandalize
you know,
exists,
yeah,
but
exactly.
and other Surgical Strike or well, I guess that won't
Rotates, right?
exist, but
Yeah.
it definitely it could be worrisome. But if Vandalize isn't something that's seeing play in the meta,
Yep.
it's fine.
And also, you got to make do. Like, if it's round 2 and this is the only thing you play, then it's,
It
you're gonna
hurts.
want to
Yeah.
do that. But
Um,
Shane, you got some thoughts on this?
Yeah, real quick. I'm actually going to read enticing reward. Sorry for the other bounty, just so I can make one quick point. So,
Yep.
enticing reward is a bounty downgrade. It costs 1, so actually you have to pay $1 to get it. But after the attached character is defeated, you may play an equipment or weapon from your hand or discard pile for free. So. To Tommy's point, where he's saying that it almost feels like it could be like a win more situation, like that definitely feels like it, right? Like if you're killing a character and then you're getting a free whatever vibro cutlass, whatever you're getting, I get that sentiment, but I kind of looked at it differently. I kind of just looked at it as like a catch up, like kind of like you're trying to get back in the game type of feel. So depending on who you play it on, right? Like if you're playing a deck like Vader Greedo, you have to kill Vader, right? And I still think you probably do. But it's interesting to think, okay, if I can just chop that low hanging fruit and cash in on something like a free weapon or upgrade and another activation from punishing one, is it worth actually now changing my target, my normal target of a deck, to something else? And I think that's an interesting
Yeah.
thing that they're going to try to play with here, because that will really make the deck fun to play. When you sit down against certain decks, you're like, that's my target every time. And that's, mill changes that because you don't have a target. But other than that, damage decks have to kill the one character. This has the opportunity to really change how the game's played and who people target. And it does also have the opportunity to just be win more, like you're saying. Because, yeah, you get Vader dead, you get this. It doesn't really matter. But I think it offers that balance of who do you actually want to try to kill first? And is it worth it or not?
If it said support, I'd probably be a little more excited.
So it can be any weapon or equipment. So if there's a weapon or equipment support, you can play that.
Are there any though?
I
But
think that
I don't know.
that Geonosis Sonic Cannon might be a weapon.
Isn't that
But-
artillery?
Yeah, you're right. It's artillery.
It might be, yeah. I'm saying so, but it could be
Why do I know
whatever.
that?
We don't know what's coming out. There could be like that type of thing, like Tommy's saying,
Yeah.
like a weapon like that or something
E-Web
stupid.
Blaster.
But right, exactly. It's saying that for the open ended. We don't know what else is in the set, so I just pointed out it doesn't have
Yeah.
to be an upgrade. But if it's just a free upgrade, like you're playing it on who you want on the character that has more health, like playing a Vibro Cutlass for free is for 1, and it boosts it. You got an activation off punishing 1, and you got extra damage, and all that
Yeah.
is pretty good.
Yeah, it could definitely help you claw back, but it's just like in the example of like being behind. Like if you're like a middle versus a middle, and they kill your first character before you kill one of them.
Yeah.
Like if you then kill theirs, the weapon that you're playing isn't going to come in effect till like next round. Whereas if it was like a support, and I get that could probably be like a little crazy because if it just said support and like you had a fist in your discard pile, like that's obviously
Yes.
like way above the curve of what should be happening. But it like just the slow potential like actual reward from playing this would be like a little too slow in what I would hope to get out of it.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends. Like, I think if there's a lot of 3-wide decks, like you guys were saying, like that's
Yeah.
super interesting because then you can target whoever you want, but it also just ramps how fast you can kill them. Like, I mean, you should be able to kill Dengar and whoever. If you play that, you're going to be able to kill a 7 health character very fast. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah, I think
So-
most metas end up historically, from what I've seen, at least in the 6 metas that have existed, or 6.5, depending on when you look at that, maybe the 2-player box
For sure, yeah.
as like a half meta. When you get a new set into the mix, typically the meta starts as a predominantly middle meta, and then you find later in the meta that people tend to spread out into 3 wide more often than not.
All right, we'll bounce on to Denger's Fireblade. It's a 3-drop yellow villain rare. Upgrade weapon. It's a 2+4 or 2 melee +4 melee, 2 disrupt, 2 shield, resource blank. After you play this upgrade, you may deal 1 damage to a character that has a bounty on it. Power action. If this upgrade is on Dengar, turn 1 of his character dice to his side, showing a value of 1.
Sure.
Yeah, that's pretty much my overwhelming feeling. I'm like, 2 damage sides. It's a 3-drop without redeploy. I could get an extra damage out of it. I can easily turn Dengar to get the melee to pair it up, but overall, like,
Yeah, it's definitely underwhelming. I'm glad it's only a rare. If I'm really building that bounty type deck, am I going to include one of them with Dengar in the deck? Yeah, I'll probably throw one of them in there and pitch it, hope to get the enticing reward. But yeah.
Trilogies definitely, but maybe like standard, you maybe have a 1 of, and maybe that even goes away moving on.
Yeah,
like once 5 and 6, the 5th and 6th of standard come out.
Definitely matters who you're pairing it with. If you are pairing Dengar, if you're putting this in a Dengar deck, who Dengar is with really matters, because that power action, great, you power action flip to the 1, they just remove the 1, and then you're like, great, this +4 does nothing. So it's like, if you have a melee side character with him, maybe, but I don't know. It's underwhelming for sure.
Yeah, then they play Forsaken on you, and you're like, dang.
No.
I don't know. Yeah, seems like whatever. Tom, do you have any extra thoughts on this?
Oh, choking on spit.
Oh, good. He's so excited about it.
I was like, did he just wake up? Yeah. Like,
well, it was funny. He
moving
started
right on.
talking. I saw him hit mute, and I was like, oh, did he actually hit mute? Yeah, it seems overwhelming. I'd be surprised if there's much more that he adds to
Tommy
that.
couldn't even handle it, so yeah, I guess we can move on to a side.
I took one look at the artwork, and I was like, man, that Dengar is an ugly dude.
Yeah, he is.
If you saw what they took this from, like the artwork in the comic book, he's like fighting Chewbacca when he whips that Fireblade thing out. Dude, he just looks so like, man. Dengar's not a character I've ever cared about.
Well, if Chewie used a lot of product that day, like in his fur, I mean, he could go right up,
light him up.
Yep.
It's a good meta call right there.
Yeah. If your opponent's playing some product characters, whatever. All right, this next one, Mind Extraction. It is a 2-cost.
Skipping Asajj, or just like
Asajj? Did she pop up? Did my thing skip her? Is she not? I'm just going through the images.
Oh, on the thing. Because I'm looking at the document. I guess I put
Asajj pops up. She's number 10 of 13.
But go ahead.
All right, relax.
All right, fine, dude.
Relax. Yeah. All right, man.
You're just a drone to FFG's freaking nonsense. I'm done.
Mind Extraction, downgrade, villain blue, uncommon. Attached character lose all of its non-special abilities. Action, exhaust attached character, or discard this downgrade. Only attached character's controller can use this action. I love the artwork.
Yeah, artwork's sick. Really good artwork.
Yeah. Card, like, I think first glance it seems good, but I feel like if you look out, as Tommy's referencing, like past metas, like there's never been like a big negative card that has like stayed in the meta.
Yep.
Like it's just going like I don't even like snares, like something similar to this, and that never saw play. Granted, this is cheaper, but it's also not useful against every character.
Yeah, I normally don't make like really like one-sided opinions, but I think this is just bad. Like honestly, I get, yeah, you get to make Vader lose his power action, whatever, but there's no deck that I can think of on blue villain that's making so much money that it's just like, yeah, I'll play Mind Extraction for 2 and lose 2 of my even Vader deck. I mean, even with Theed right now, but post Theed, when Vader actually has settled down a little bit, when Theed eventually comes down with whatever it comes down with, I can't see them taking 2 resources to not actually extend their win state, just drag the game on. I just think it's bad.
If like Palp is everywhere, maybe if you got 11 damage on him, let's just play this and kill him.
If Palp like takes over, I could see him being a big one, because you're actually like killing him. Like he's losing 3 health. Sure.
Yep.
Yeah, it feels like a silver bullet ish type card, just because it's like, oh, there's one character that's too prominent, too, his ability is too synergistic with whatever. You could shut it down if the meta is taken over by one deck and this counters it hard. But yeah, it's hard for me to see a situation where I'd rather play this over adding a die to my board state.
Yeah.
I don't see, or even, using those resources as like 2 removal cards.
Yep. And if it is Palp, they're both just going to run this, like Palp on Palp games, where they're both just running Mining Strike, because it has to be blue villain.
Yeah.
It's just like dumb. I don't know.
Like the fact it's villain even more like it makes sense, like what they're going for in terms of thematic and all that, but you're limiting its usefulness even more.
Thematically, it's great. Artistically, it's amazing.
Yep.
That's kind of where it ends.
Yep. All right, we'll move on. The next image I have is Thrawn. He's a 14-17 Empire at War legendary. No. So they included him, obviously, to go into this next one. Secrets Laid Bare. It's a downgrade intel, 0 cost. After attached character is activated, reveal 3 random cards from its controller's hand. It's a neutral blue.
This is my favorite downgrade I've seen.
Yeah. Even like, yeah, I guess it depends. Like, obviously, if this is on Vader, they're going to definitely activate Vader, and you're going to see their cards. Because it's not like they're going to pass. But like in a 3-wide, it's like if they can hold it till they play the cards they care about, and then they just reveal like 3 random cards of their hand.
That's fine too, because they played an upgrade, and even if they just play 1 upgrade and roll out, now 75% of their hand. That hand knowledge is huge.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, like in a middle, like this is much more valuable. But like I'm thinking like Snoke 3-wide or something, like the current iteration of it, like whether we're playing Bala or Trader or whatever, like they could just delay their actions enough to play the removal that they care about to end your turn, basically, to then reveal like 3 supports or what they were planning to do, and there's nothing you can like do about it at that point anyways. Like I think it has upside, but I think there's like a way 3-wides could play around this a little bit to not be as open about what their hand is.
Right, like
it depends when it hits the table, because I mean you do want those character dice in so that you could Snoke them, specifically in the early rounds. So I mean, if you put it on, Snoke's lackey, that's something that they're going to want in the pool, especially if they need those resources, or if you have any other way to disrupt them.
They're going to want the dice in the pool every round, but yeah, more so at the beginning. But I think it's just about when they care about it in the pool. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you put it on whoever, the trader. You just don't activate the trader till the end of you roll in a support, you pass. If you're holding off your activation of characters, then they're just going to resolve 1 or 2 dice. You're going to pass. They're going to pass. The round's going to end. Like that's, I think, like a vehicle deck.
I don't think you pass that.
No, you would never do it. I'm just saying you're literally going to have to roll in your characters before they activate their trash character that you put this on.
Yeah,
or even I get like in the later game where they have 2 supports and still 3 characters and
but they
couple
can just
cards
pass.
They could play.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, or you could feed power action and yeah, there's things you can do without passing, and that's fine.
But you could just pass as the person who has this on their character. Why wouldn't you just pass if your opponent isn't activating? And once you activate, they don't really care if you see their hand.
Yeah,
because they're going to remove it anyway. So. I mean, it's definitely interesting. That much hand knowledge is something to note. If enticing rewards, definitely my favorite downgrade. But you're right. It's interesting, but because there's not really a card that offers that much consistent hand knowledge. So
and also in the later part of a game, in like say a middle build or even a 3-wide, and if it's an upgrade 3-wide build, at the end of the game, it's important that you get your dice in the pool and you apply pressure. And then if you reveal your hand. And I don't see any mitigation cards in that hand, then maybe if I'm behind or if I need say 5 damage to win the game, it gives me a little more assurance that I can be greedy, or that I could play something to turn my dice, or I could focus the max damage with a little more comfort than I normally would have.
Yeah, totally agree. Against middle, I think it's going to be the best.
Yeah, middle and big little, it's going to be great.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, I think I'm on Tommy's side where I think this is my favorite. I was just pointing out is that when it shifts to 3-wide, I think this sees less of impact, but still okay.
Yeah,
Can we go to the next card? Because I keep staring at this lady's face and
I
she's
know,
freaking me
dude.
right
She's the
out, dude.
creepiest thing
Staring
I've
at your
ever
soul.
seen.
All right. Well, I mean, this is relevant into the next thing. And Shane, you're obviously excited about this person because you yelled at me for going by FFG's
I love
order of
Massage,
things.
dude.
So take it away, dude.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping she was going to be like a yellow villain because like when she goes all full bounty hunter and stuff like that, it's pretty dope. But like I get it, she's blue, everything's blue. I hate this game. So Asaz Adventures, swift and cunning, 12 health. She's got a 1 melee, 2 melee, a 3 melee for $1, a discard, a resource. She's 13-16. She's only a rare. She's a blue villain. After she's a character and a bounty hunter, so she is that bounty hunter. That's why I kind of wanted her to be yellow, but I digress. After a character that has a downgrade on it takes damage from this die, you may discard a card from your hand to remove one of that character's character or upgrade dice. It's cool, I think. Like
She seems just okay.
yeah, like her
More of that, like, yeah.
every card so far we've read is a rare or less. So I like that this whole spoiler page was all rares, no legendaries. So it's not something that you're not going to hate to pull this. But 12 health is good. 13-16 is okay point wise. I don't like 3 for 1 that much. I don't like a 1 either, but like okay damage sides. The ability is just kind of pricey, right? You gotta deal damage. You have to roll damage. You have to deal damage.
Yeah.
Then you have to discard a card. If they have a downgrade, then you get to remove one of their dice. So like, it's kind of scary if you have like her and like 2 grappling boas on her or something stupid like that, and you're just like, I have all the removal I need in my dice. Like that's kind of funny, but I think just okay. Sadly, is what I'd have to give my rating for her.
Definitely better than the other Asaj.
I think she's decent. I don't think she's that bad.
She's definitely better than the other Sash. You're right. Yeah, I don't
It's a
think
low
she's
bar.
terrible.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, obviously, I think like she almost reminds me of like Kit Fisto a little bit. She has 1 more health than him, but although I'd prefer the double focus over the discard.
She doesn't have. I thought Fisto. Does he have 11?
Yeah,
he's
that's
got
what I'm saying.
11.
Oh, wow.
Asaj has 1
I thought
more
it was
health.
12 for some reason in my head.
I'm pretty sure.
No, I think you're right. You would know. You've been playing him.
That means nothing. Trust me. Yeah, A is 11. Yeah, so she reminds me, and like I think Kit is a good character, but like I think she's probably maxed out at the same level Kit is, where like he's fine, but certainly not going to be the best. He could, be in decks that perform well and do things well. And again, with her, as more bounties come out that are more valuable to have within your deck, she'll do better.
Yeah.
But like we just talked about, that the plot of the Secrets Laid Bare, like I would definitely include that within her decks.
Yeah. I was getting ticked because people were like, I remember when this first dropped, a lot of people were like, why would I ever run her when I can run Savage, who's got better damage sides and 13 health, blah, blah. I'm like, because Savage sucks. Like his ability literally he's nowhere because the order of operations you have to go through to even be able to remove an opponent's dice because you have to activate first.
Yeah,
he's terrible.
He literally hides your opponent's dice for them.
So like, don't compare something that just does. Yeah, there's no comparison here at all. So that was bothering me. Like alone, dice looking at it, sure, but again, I think she's probably a little better than I guess I gave credit for initially. Like she does have some possibilities, and I love Asajj as a character. So like,
Her with Dooku.
I think she's good.
I mean Dooku or Dengar. Like Dengar works. Like obviously that's why she's in this article because they add up to 30 and they both reference downgrades. So
yeah, sure. All the bounties are downgrades as well. So
yeah,
that could work on top of that. She seems like she. Yeah, I'm probably just in the camp where she seems okay, and the better downgrades are that you can pair with her, the better she'll be as well. So
it'll be cool to see things reference Bounty Hunter, and then you can include those in a blue deck. Like say, you're playing a card that references Bounty Hunter in a yellow blue deck, but your yellow character isn't a Bounty Hunter. You can include her and slot that in. Like that might actually come into effect, but yeah, I don't know.
All right, so we got 2 more cards to go through. We're at about an hour and a half, so we'll try to wrap this up quickly for you guys. We're turning into Chip over here.
Jeez.
Although we're not talking about pocket. I don't know what he was talking about on his last episode. It was like backpack clips. Ray wanted a Poe helmet. I don't know.
Here's the problem. Now we're talking about it.
Now we're talking about it. Look what he did. All right, Hampered, 0 cost, downgrade, injury. It is a red neutral uncommon. And the text of it says, no more than one of attached characters' character dice can be resolved during each turn, and those dice cannot be modified. Good in a big little matchup, kind of irrelevant. Maybe not irrelevant, but not as good into everything else. Certainly awful against vehicle decks.
Yeah.
For zero
Yeah,
cost, though.
I don't think it's that bad, though. I mean, for zero cost, but I'm just not a huge fan of downgrades. Again, a lot of these are going to be like meta dependent on where this meta goes.
For sure. And the rest of the cards that actually reference these, we also need
Yeah.
to know that. Like, there's a lot more to be known. Everyone just reference, this is good against Vader, so he can't resolve the
Screw your Vader Saber.
whatchamacallit, Vader Saber, exactly. So, like, yeah, I get that. Sure.
It's just interesting to me, like, this whole idea of downgrades. Like, since you guys didn't disagree, I assume you echo the idea a little bit that, like, when I first talked about, like, negative cards that hamper your opponent don't see play as much as cards that push you forward.
Yeah.
But now it's like this entire idea of, like, downgrades is literally hampering your opponent. So it's like the more they push it, maybe it sees play more. But, currently I'm unconvinced until I have the cards in my hand and can play them.
Like, I was more exciting for indirect damage in Legacies than I am for downgrades in Convergence, but it's still interesting.
I think the big thing with Legacies was power actions. I liked that and how you could, like, limit and make powerful abilities.
So yeah, power actions and indirect. In this, we have downgrades and traits, essentially. So
I think that we have a lot still to see with downgrades, but to this point, I haven't seen anything that makes me even remotely think I'm going to build a deck around downgrades. At best, they're going to be tech pieces that get slotted in to a deck as like 1 or 2s off.
I think you're right.
I actually did like this one, and this is actually up at the top in the banner of the article. It's a 1 cost, target acquired, downgrade intel, damaged character only. Indirect damage assigned by attached character's controller must be assigned to attached character if able.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And
that's good.
I think that's might be the best one we've seen so far. Because if you think about it, like, obviously indirect sides are huge and much more, like, out there. And so
does it say indirect sides or just indirect damage?
Indirect damage.
So yeah, Tarkin is pretty cool.
That's what. It's like if you play against, like, Tarkin Snoke and they just get indirect off and then jam this onto one of your characters, now that power action is just 4 damage straight into a character. And in middle, like, you're gonna burn them down so quickly.
Yep.
So obviously areas like that, it could be useful. So that's probably my favorite one, I think, so far.
Yeah.
Too bad Tarkin Snoke dies when things rotate.
Yeah, speed, holocron, anger,
zeros,
overconfidence, like the whole deck's gone.
Yep.
And our last card I'll read through real quick. It is Unshackle. It's a gray neutral, 1 cost, has ambush, and it says discard a downgrade from play, and it's a common. Love the artwork, cool. And if they're introducing downgrades, you need a way to discard them, and this is fine. Vader, you probably are running this more so than other decks, but
yep.
Yeah, sure.
Why not? Sure.
Yeah.
Someone was like, is this an auto include in every single deck? And I was like,
no.
Okay. Next question. This has been my TED Talk.
So even more so than Vader, I think the only character that really makes specifically the mind extraction worthwhile might be the Phasma.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Just because of the.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously the big little is definitely the best target for a card like that because you get the most value. But Phasma, I'm racking my brain, and Phasma is the only thing I could think of other than Vader that really falls into that category.
Yeah, it's even probably harsher on her, right? Because her dice sides were pretty weak. And then,
garbage.
Yeah, she's bad if you can't roll in the FOS dice.
Vader could still just wreck you.
Play.
Yeah,
she can't.
Yeah. So if she is, like, a good chunk of the meta, then I see mind extraction coming in.
So then she's running Unshackle, and it's just like, man, if you can just discard mind extraction for 1, like, yeah, sorry, you force them to put it in their deck, they have to see it, but like $1, they don't even lose an action, they get to ambush, and it's just like, I don't know.
Yeah, I like that it has ambush too, so you're not losing an action. I think that's
for
cool.
sure.
I actually think it's too good. If you're building that many downgrades into the set, I wish that there was a more of a difficult way to get rid of them.
Right, this is every color, every deck can access it, and they don't lose an action when they play it.
Yeah, that's fair.
But we'll see.
as always, we will see. But that wraps. We got a lot of spoilers this week.
It was
a lot of good stuff. Like if you go to FFG's page, at one point it was all Star Wars stuff. I'm hyped, dude. Sabine's coming to Legion, man. I won't keep talking because we could go into a tangent, and we're already at an hour and a half. But yeah, it was good. Next week, I think there's no regionals this upcoming weekend, so there won't be too much to dissect.
Testing.
Yes, there will be testing for us. And the next week. But in terms of our podcast next week, we'll probably just talk about getting ready for rotation, something along those lines.
Yeah, we won't talk about testing. I'm not allowed to talk about testing.
Dude, stop talking about testing.
I have a big mouth.
My rookie pilot deck is going to get out, and you're going to talk about it.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to talk. Scott said that I'm stupid.
Other than that, if you're looking for regional recaps, obviously there's been a few people have kind of put out. ABG kind of did a good one with Paul and Kyle talking about that. So if you're looking for a regional recap, we did not have enough time with all these spoilers, so you can check them out for that. But other than that, we're on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch. We have a Patreon if anybody's looking to support us. We will be streaming the New Jersey regional, so that'll be the last one for us because that is the last regional. But I've really enjoyed kind of being able to bring the streams out. So obviously,
and we're all going to be there, right, Shane?
Oh yeah, it's gonna be sick, dude.
Yeah, Shane will be there.
Roll
of course.
dice and stuff. I'm gonna play solo Sabine, and
is Scott even going?
I don't even think Scott's gonna make it.
Scott got mad at me because I questioned him if he was going to Virginia, and what does he do? He doesn't go to Virginia.
Scott's the new me, guys. Scott's the new me.
He went to Maryland.
Oh, that's true.
And he has a job.
Yeah,
that's true. I mean, I have one. I just got to start it.
I haven't started it yet. Yeah. So I mean, that's that again. Destiny, man. I'm excited. I'm so excited for
Destiny, man.
I'm excited, dude. Destiny's a game. I'm ready to roll.
That's true.
I'm excited for rotation. I don't hate standard. I'm really enjoying standard right now, but I'm really excited for all these new cards.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right.
Yeah, I actually am enjoying it. I think the meta is great. I think it's fun right now. But yeah. I am ready for rotation as well, but not because of the current meta.
Yep. Same boat, dude. All right, Shane. This is it, dude. You've put in so much work this week. I'm so proud of you. Maybe
Thanks,
positive
guys.
reinforcement will keep you around.
Thanks,
so
Dad.
We'll give you the sign off, little
All right,
Shaney
guys.
boy.
Here it is, okay? This is my thought process here. If Flockton bought a new microphone for Tommy because his mic was bad, I'm just going to say my car's getting pretty old and my address is